Sing Sing is a movie that stars Colman Domingo, who uses his talents to highlight a prison story about a program known as RTA, Rehabilitation Through The Arts, and how it changed the lives of some incarcerated people who, when it comes to this film, act out parts that actually represent their real lives from when they were in prison. But to summarize the film, it's approximately 2005, and with another production under the belt, the RTA, Rehabilitation Through The Arts, members at Sing Sing prison are making their plans for their next production, which should be in around 6 months. Right now, the de facto leader, known as Divine G, he has a few plays he's been working on in his cell, and with his best friend Mike, he's looking into potentially recruiting some people. Now, one of the members they recruit is Clarence, and while Mike is one of Divine G's biggest supporters, wants him to get his plays put on and not just them doing Shakespeare and other people, unfortunately, Clarence decides he wants to push a comedy, and Divine G doesn't do comedies. He does drama, and at best, the closest thing to comedies he has is satirical. No one's really taking it at. Instead, they want to have some type of comedy that has Egyptian pharaohs, cowboys, and time travel, and a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily sound like it mixes well, but with 6 months' time, passionate people about this project, it's ultimately decided to make it work one way or the other, and of course, there's drama along the way. So when it comes to the review portion, we're going to combine the two highlights, and that's just because they're pretty much extensions of each other. So to begin, the first thing that's really beautiful about this, and it's mentioned in the Q&A, is that the healing you see and the brotherhood you see when it comes to this film is so wonderful to watch, especially because it's mainly through black and brown men. And add on the fact that it's in a prison situation where, masculinity is something that is not guaranteed to protect you, but it does provide an active defense. It really pushes you to take note of the things that men have to do when they go to prison, whether they're wrongfully accused or they did what they felt like they had to do at the time. And perhaps the best example of this would be Clarence. Clarence is the newest member to the RTA, and you can tell he struggles with the idea of not only taking direction from someone like Divine G or the gentleman from RTA who comes to the prison, but also in terms of staging, the idea of somebody walking behind him makes him very uncomfortable and a little bit on edge, and he has to kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, he has to let down his walls. He has to learn how to be vulnerable again. And learning how to be vulnerable in a prison environment, you can see that's a challenge. And I would even assume for most men, the idea of being vulnerable in a prison is probably something that makes you feel like you're about to die. Yet here you have Clarence, who was, I guess you can say, a gangster on the outside. Now on the inside, low-key still doing some stuff, but trying to be better. And yet here he is, preaching Hamlet, cracking jokes, getting emotional, and his relationship with Divine G is just truly a beautiful thing to watch, especially because while you would think Colman Domingo, especially since Colman Domingo's a gay man, he just came off of Rustin, he doesn't play someone gay in this. Instead, the brotherhood that they form is very much just brotherhood. It's not, Divine G thinking that Clarence is cute enough or like that. So when these two men bond, it's truly a brotherhood. It's someone trying to look out for the other person, help them become a better man, and even go so far as try to help him get out. And what also adds to the brotherhood is that Divine G is supposed to be this guy who's so positive, who's so influential, but he struggles with trying to maintain that throughout the film because, like everybody else, he's trying to get clemency, get parole, not spend his entire life being stuck in this persona, being stuck in this place that essentially is meant to break you down more than it is to rehabilitate you. And not to go into spoilery, but everybody has their moment in this film. And to watch a man like Divine G break down, flip out, and then see someone like Clarence work with him and give what he was given, I'm not going to say it's going to be an overly emotional response that you're going to have, at least in the early parts of it, but by the end of the movie, you're probably going to shed some tears. With that said, if you're like me, there's nothing worse than when you're watching a film or TV show and then building up to something, in this case a play, and you don't get to see the whole play go through. You do get to see some archival footage of the actual play that was put on, which is a wonderful thing, but as for the play with the time travel, the gravekeeper, and all this other stuff, you get bits and pieces. You don't get the full thing, and I find it frustrating since too many productions do that, and I think the only time we've actually gotten to see an entire play go from start to finish is maybe in Euphoria's second season. But otherwise, they build up to this big thing, and then they just give you bits and pieces or just tease what happened, and unfortunately Sing Sing does that. But overall, Sing Sing delivers what is expected, and between what it shows of the RTA program and the fact that many of the actors in this went through that program when they were incarcerated, it almost gives you like a docudrama type of feel, but in the highest order.